What's going on, guys? Happy to be back with you again, and we are going to be doing this video on riding confidently. So, our day job is pretty strenuous, if you will. We go around the world riding the world's most problematic horses. Where do I get my confidence from is what I'm asked a lot of times. And the big thing is to remember, success is a lot of small things done right. Being confident is a lot of small things done right on the back of a horse. So I'm here with Rocket, and Rocket is a young colt that we're starting, Percheron Rocky Cross. And, just young colt stuff. He can crow hop here or spook there. So what builds my confidence? First and foremost, confidence starts in your keister. I say that all the time. Confidence starts in your keister. The reason being, you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if your seat doesn't make you confident, then your brain's gonna constantly get in the way saying, hey, we're gonna die, we're gonna die. As long as your brain's getting in your way, you're gonna have a hard time with that. So folks who have a real nice seat all the time, believe you me, when I go to the show ring, I sit up and I sit pretty because I'm in a show ring on a finished show horse. But for the rest of the time, I wanna be able to grab what happens here, whenever you're sitting so perfect, if there's any shift in momentum or he looks at a shadow or he sneezes, it throws me forward. Anytime that my head gets in front of my hips and there's a sudden change in momentum, it throws off my equilibrium. And when it does that, I wanna cover my vital organs. So I'm not saying, hey, cover your vital organs. My brain is saying, hey, we're falling. And this is the response. So that's when you see people hug on the horn or grab on the horse's neck. What I wanna do to build my confidence is scoot forward in that saddle and take my butt and roll on it. So I'm essentially sitting in the same place. The difference is, instead of sitting here with that Kim Kardashian butt lift and my cheeks hanging out behind me, instead of my butt being behind me, I wanna be on top of my butt. Rolling my hips under like that is really gonna help me be confident on this big boy. The other thing is, this is the motor of the horse. This is the direction of the horse. So if he spooks on a trail or spins or bolts or jumps, this will be the part moving first and this will be the part pushing. So if I'm sitting over the pivot point, when he spooks at that turkey and spins to the right, my mind will stay clear, I won't trip my equilibrium, and I'll be able to face up. So scoot forward in your saddle all the way till you get to the front and roll back on your hips. When I say sit back, it doesn't mean do this. It means scoot forward, roll back on your hips. Now I automatically feel more comfortable. My shoulders are getting further back and my heels are coming forward. The further from your vertical line you get, the more balance you have. That's why bronc riders ride like this. Now we don't have to be so exaggerated, but if you're a trail rider, a pleasure rider, or just a rider that's trying to get more confident, if you see jumping riders, they have to get off their horse. They have to be here forward to get that horse's back rounded up to go over a fence. Because of that, they're in a vulnerable position, so when the horse stops, they fall off. On the other end of the spectrum are cutting trainers. Cutting trainers come in on a horse and they sit just like this, and they cut a cow out of the herd and they hold on to the horn here and they drop the reins. And that horse jumps left, jumps right, does anything the cow does and mirrors it. The person has no idea where they're going and they feel confident they can ride it. So much so that they can do that bareback and bridleless because they have such a good seat and they're sitting here. So whenever we're trying to build our confidence, think about rolling your butt under and bringing your shoulders back. Now instead of being perfectly at my vertical line, my heels are in front of my hips and my shoulders are behind my hips. The more that I can do that, the more confident I'm gonna feel. Now the next thing, now that I've got confidence in my keister, it's the horse that I'm riding. What I wanna see is, do I have control of his face? If he wants to do something, so whenever I start sliding my hands down before I go anywhere, I notice, hey, he didn't wanna give me his face right there. So I'm just gonna start flexing him to the left and the right and make sure I have a steering wheel. As he's going all over the place and not giving me what I want, I'll go one way, I'll go the other way, I'll go one way, I'll go the other way, and I'll just keep turning the steering wheel back and forth until it knocks the rust off, because you're not gonna feel confident if you don't feel like you're in control. Speed is not the issue, guys. Pressure is not the issue. The issue is your lack of control. You guys do 70, 80 miles per hour in your vehicle every day on the way to and from work and wherever you're going. You don't feel uncomfortable at all because you feel in full control. So confidence comes from a good stable seat that keeps you a clear mind and the feeling of control. So before this ride starts and before I do anything, I'm just making sure I have control. And if I can't turn the steering wheel left and right without him getting fussy about it and trying to take the steering wheel away from me, then I'm not really in control. And since I'm not in control, I'm not gonna feel confident. Well, a lot of you you don't realize that that's why you don't feel confident. It's because you're not in real control. And since a lot of times there's not common knowledge of what gets us in control of a horse. So I wish somebody would just come along and say, hey, if you can't flex your horse, don't ride your horse. Hey, if you can't disengage your horse, don't ride your horse. Hey, if you can't move that horse's butt, don't ride it. I wouldn't. And I ride nasty horses for a living. So if you're doing this for your fun hobby and you have one horse in the back or two horses in the back, guys, don't ride until you get control of the steering wheel. See now how he's starting to give up his head? Now I'm starting to feel in control. So in control feels in confidence. Now I'm feeling more confident about the situation. Now that he gave me his face, I want to make sure I have his butt. So I slide my hand down here and I pull his face to his butt until his butt moves around. Give him his face here, slide my right hand down. I look at his butt. And of course, you can see how to do all these things in their videos, Control the Head, Control the Horse series. But we're just talking about the things that make me feel confident. And last and most, we got his head, we got his butt. The basic control of a horse. If you don't have their face and you don't have their butt, you should not ride. If that horse doesn't back up from you from the ground, you should not ride. If the horse doesn't drop his head to you from the ground, you should not ride. Because all these things are telling you that the horse doesn't respect you enough to give. Once you have that, then the last thing that's going to push you over the top to be a ridiculously confident rider is now you're going to try to set your horse off. And that's what obstacles and desensitizing and things are. The two ways to build situational resistance, or to make that horse uncomfortable and see if they're trustworthy in a bind, scare the bejesus out of them. Tarps, balls, soccer, anything you want. See if you can control their head and their butt. Another thing is go fast. Be comfortable, start at the walk, then at the trot, then at the canter, and see if you can control their head and their butt. If you do these couple things, and confidence is a lot of small things done right. It starts right here in your seat, that you feel confident and you feel stationary. You don't feel like you're gonna fall, you're not thrown off your equilibrium. Confidence starts in your keister, that's number one. Number two, can you control the horse's head? Can you just slide the hand down the rein? See how that horse is trying to melt there? Because he doesn't want to get grabbed on. Control the horse's head, number two. And number three, be able to control his head. Now we can control his butt. If he can't get his motor under him, if he can't drive, he can't buck, run, or rear, because all those things are in a straight line. So if we have the ability, no matter how excited he gets, that we can just slide our hand down the rein and move his butt, you're going to feel confident. And that's how we ride confident. Thank you guys so much for watching this. I'll see you in the next video.